Welcome to Physiology session. Today we are discussing about physiology of pain. Pain is defined as an unpleasant and emotional experience associated with or without actual tissue damage. Pain sensation is described in many ways, like pricking, electrical, dull ache, shooting, cutting, stabbing, and so on. Often, it also induces crying and fainting as after effects. Pain is produced by real or potential injury to the body. Often it is expressed in terms of injury. For example, pain produced by the fire is expressed as burning sensation. At the same time, pain produced by severe sustained contraction of skeletal muscles is expressed as cramps. It may be acute or chronic. Acute is a sharp pain of short duration with easily identified cause. At the same time, chronic pain is the intermittent or constant pain with different intensities. Now, pain is an important sensory symptom, as we all know. Though it is an unpleasant sensation, it has protective or survival benefits. First one is awareness of injury. Pain gives warning signal about the existence of a problem or threat. It will create an awareness about the injury. Now, it will also cause reflex withdrawal to prevent further damage. And the pain also forces the person to rest or to minimize the activities, thus enabling rapid healing of injured part. Now, it will also urges the person to take required treatment if necessary to prevent the further damage. Coming to the types of pain, we are mainly discussing about clinical types and qualitative types. Clinical types are mainly somatic pain, visceral pain, and referred pain. And qualitative types include fast pain and slow pain. Let's discuss each of them in detail. Somatic pain and visceral pain. As the name suggests, somatic pain is the pain originating in the somatic structures like muscles, tendons, bones, etc. In the case of visceral pain, the pain is originating in the visceral structures, which means internal organs. For example, peptic ulcer. Now, referred pain is the pain that is perceived at a site adjacent to or away from the site of origin. Deep pain or some visceral pain are referred to other areas. For example, cardiac pain is felt at the inner part of the left arm and left shoulder is an example for referred pain. Now, the qualitative types are fast and slow pain. Fast pain is the first sensation whenever a pain stimulus is applied. It is the first sensation and it is experienced as a bright, sharp and localized pain sensation. And the fast pain, after the fast pain, it is followed by the slow pain, which is a dull, diffused and unpleasant pain. Now, we have discussed about the receptors of the pain. It is widely distributed throughout most part of the body, especially in the skin. It is known as nociceptors or free nerve endings. Now let's discuss about pain pathway. There are two types, fast pain pathway and slow pain pathway. Let's discuss this in detail. Pain pathway. It is a general description. Pain pathway or pain is transmitted to higher centers. For example, cortex, which is a higher center in the brain through lateral spinothalamic tract of the anterior lateral system. We have discussed about lateral anterior thalamic tract. Pain pathway is a lateral anterior thalamic tract which is transmitted to cortex through this anterolateral system. Now, I have said before there is a slow pain and fast pain pathway, which is slow pain is mediated through paleospinothalamic tract. At the same time, fast pain is mediated through neospinothalamic tract. As I said before, receptors for pain is known as nociceptors. Now let's move to the first order neurons. In slow pain, C fibers, the fibers are known as C fibers, which will enter into the spinal cord and synapse in the substantia gelatinosa of Rolando of posterior gray horn. And the neurotransmitter released here is known as substance P. Now, in fast pain, A delta fibers will synapse with marginal nucleus of posterior gray horn. So I said before, for slow pain, C fibers will synapse, and in fast pain, A delta fibers will synapse. In slow pain, C fibers will synapse to substantia gelatinosa of Rolando of posterior gray horn. At the same time, in fast pain, A delta fibers will synapse in the marginal nucleus of posterior gray horn. And the neurotransmitter released here is glutamate. At the same time, in the slow pain, the neurotransmitter released was substance P. Okay. Now, coming to second order neurons. So, we have discussed about the first order neurons, and now we are discussing about the second order neurons. As I said before, in slow pain, this will decussate and ascend up, which is medially placed in the contralateral spinothalamic pathway. After this discussion, we can discuss about a diagram, and in that it will decussate the neurons from the substantia gelatinosa of Rolando will decussate and ascend up in the contralateral spinothalamic pathway. Now, in the brainstem, majority of the fibers project into four major nuclear groups. Okay, the 1/5 of the portion will reaches the midline and intralaminar nucleus of thalamus. The other portion of the nerve fibers will reach in the four major nuclear group. The one is hypothalamus, tectum, periaqueductal gray matter, and reticular formation. Now, the second order neurons in the fast pain, they will decussate from the marginal nucleus. Marginal nucleus in the same segment of the spinal cord and ascend, which is laterally placed and ascend in the lateral spinothalamic tract. Majority of these fibers will pass to the VPL nucleus, ventral posterior lateral nucleus of thalamus. Majority of the fibers will pass to this nucleus in the thalamus. Now coming to the third order neuron. In the case of slow pain, third order neuron arises from the midline and intralaminar nuclei and project to different areas of the cortex. It will include limbic cortical areas. In case of fast pain, third order neuron will originate from VPL nucleus, which means ventral posterolateral nucleus of thalamus, and project to the somatosensory cortex in the area Brodmann's area. We are discussing about the Brodmann's area 3, 1 and 2. Now let's discuss about this. Now we can explain these terms as a diagram. So let's start with receptors. Here we can see A delta fibers and C fibers. These green fibers are the fast pain, which means neospinothalamic pathway, and the yellow fibers denotes paleospinothalamic pathway. Here we can see the A delta fibers has arisen and C fibers also arisen, which reaches in the spinal cord. Okay, the fast pain fibers will synapse in the marginal nucleus and slow fibers will synapse in the substantia gelatinosa of Rolando. It will cross the midline and ascend upwards to the thalamus. The slow pain fibers, 1/5 of the fibers will reach the midline and intralaminar nucleus, and the other nerve fibers will reach the four major portions of the brain, which is hypothalamus, tectum, periaqueductal gray matter, and reticular formation. At the same time, fast fibers will ascend upwards and reaches the VPL nuclei, which is ventral posterolateral nucleus of thalamus, and both will ascend to the cortex, which is the Brodmann's area I have said before, 3, 1 and 2. Now we have discussed pain pathway. Next we are discussing about an analgesia system. So we have discussed pain pathway. Now we have to counteract the pain. We have to reduce the intensity, or we have to nullify the effect of pain. That's why in our body there is also a control system called analgesia system. We have known about analgesics, which are the painkillers. Okay. Likewise, in our body there is a pain control system which is known as the analgesia system. It is a short-term relief from pain. It is a system in the brain which provides a short-term relief. Okay, it is an endogenous analgesic system because we are not, endo means inside, it is inside our body. It is a control system which is inside our body, which is known as the analgesia system. Now coming to analgesic pathway. Analgesic pathway that refers with the pain transmission is considered as a descending pain pathway. It is actually a descending pain pathway, which means it will start from the brain, and it will counteract and it will reaches the muscles or the nerve endings. Okay, this ascending pain pathway being the afferent fibers that transmit pain sensation to the brain. Now, when we're discussing about the pathway, we have to go through the origin and the termination, and this pathway will originate from the frontal cortex and hypothalamus. It projects to the cells in the periaqueductal gray matter of the midbrain. And then the fibers from PAG means periaqueductal gray matter, it will project to nucleus of raphe magnus and reticularis magnocellularis in the medulla. Now, these fibers from these reticular nuclei descend through lateral white column of spinal cord and reach the synapses of the afferent pain pathway in the gray horn. Between A delta afferent fibers, we have discussed A delta fibers before in the pain pathway, which was the fibers of the fast pain, and the C fibers were the part of slow pain. So, A delta type afferent fibers and neurons of marginal nucleus, and the second type is sweep type afferent fibers and neurons of substantia gelatinosa of Rolando. Now, these interneurons release enkephalin as their neurotransmitter and inhibit the release of substance P and glutamate. We have discussed substance P and glutamate before. Substance P was a neurotransmitter which was released in the slow pain pathway. At the same time, glutamate were the neurotransmitter which is released in the fast pain pathway. So here in the analgesia system, the neurotransmitter like enkephalin will inhibit the substance P and glutamate so that the pain sensation will get nullified or the effect will get reduced. It is totally a short-term regulation system. In case of severe pain, we are using medications like we are using analgesic medicines. Okay. Thus, the transmission of impulse in the pain pathway in the dorsal horn is inhibited. Let us discuss this diagram. As I said before, the origin is from the brain, frontal cortex and the hypothalamus. It will synapse with the periaqueductal gray matter, which is known as the PAG, and this is an encephalinergic neuron, which means this will release neurotransmitter called enkephalin. This is the nucleus of raphe magnus and this will synapse with the pain pathway. Here, this is a pain pathway. We can see primary pain afferent C fibers and A delta fibers. So, these green fibers are the pain pathway. So this encephalogenic neuron will block substance P and glutamate. Okay, here the encephalin is get released and the substance P and glutamate will get inhibited so that the pain will get nullified. Okay, this is how the pain is inhibited. This is a diagram for analgesia system. Okay, this is the endogenous neural analgesia system. Now, let's discuss referred pain in detail. As I said before, referred pain is the pain that is received at the site adjacent to or away from the site of origin. We have discussed it before in the types of pain. I have just telling this once again, which is deep pain and some visceral pain are referred to other areas. There are some, we have to write some examples for referred pain. The first one is cardiac pain is felt at the inner part of the left arm and left shoulder. And the next one is pain in ovary is referred to umbilicus is also an example for referred pain. Pain from testis is felt in abdomen. Pain in diaphragm is referred to shoulder. These four are the main examples for referred pain. Okay. Now, there are three theories which proves the referred pain. How the referred pain is formed. It is also always a curious question than how this referred pain is formed. So, there are three theories which is which to prove referred pain. The first one is dermatological theory. Dermatological theory is explained as the visceral pain is referred usually to a structure that develops from the same embryonic segment. As I said before, the cardiac pain is referred to the left arm or left shoulder. So we have to assume that the heart and the left shoulder is developed from a same dermatome, which is known as the dermatomal theory. So, I will read the definition again. Visceral pain is referred usually to a structure that develops from same embryonic segment or dermatome. It is known as the dermatomal theory. For example, the heart and the inner aspect of the arm develop from the same embryonic segment, which is also called as dermatome. Therefore, the pain of acute myocardial infarction radiate to the ulnar border of the left arm, or the the cardiac pain will refer to the hand or the shoulder. Okay, which is known as the dermatological theory. And the next is convergence theory. According to this theory, when we look at this figure, when the first order neuron carrying the pain sensation from somatic area and visceral organ, we have studied this earlier. Okay, the first order neurons are carrying pain sensation from the skin. At the same time, the viscera or the heart is also carrying pain sensation. Okay, it will converge to a common second order neuron so that the brain is unable to identify the source of pain. The brain is unable to find the source of pain, whether it is from skin or the outer portion like somatic structures or from the visceral organs. So these two pathways are converging, and then so that the referred pain, the cardiac pain may refer to the somatic structures. Okay, since somatic pain is far more common, the brain interrupt all the pain as somatic pain, and even the source is actually visceral. So that the both the pains are will get converged, which is the convergence theory. Now, coming to facilitation theory, according to this theory, the visceral irritation is inadequate for producing pain by itself. However, it gives collaterals to ST neuron, which means here we have a visceral irritation. It's a visceral structure, so that this pain sensation will, the pain fibers will generate, and then the somatic pain structure as usual it will also generate, and from the visceral fiber there will form a collateral to the somatic nerve fibers. Okay, collateral to the somatic neuron receiving the pain from the skin. So there is a usual pain sensation from the skin through the nociceptors. At the same time, there are also irritable or pain sensation from the visceral structure. And what we here is saying that these fibers, which means these visceral nerve fibers, will give collaterals. We can see in the figure there is a small collateral to the somatic nerve fiber. Okay. As a result, this neuron excitability is raised or facilitated, so that visceral pain will facilitate the somatic pain, so that we can feel the visceral pain will project to the skin, and it is called the referred pain. So there are three theories: dermatomal theory, convergence theory, and facilitation theory. This is all about the referred pain and pain pathway, and the analgesic system. So thank you.